The farmers' movement had been strengthened when the Congress party and the Communist party, or the leftist wing of the Indian politics, they had come together. Like they started working together for the benefit of the farmers, the Congress party and the leftists. So the farmers movement had gained a lot of strength with this joining of both the Congress party and the leftists. And during this time, the important leftist leaders were Muzaffar Ahmed, S.A. Dange, P.C. Joshi, Singaravellu Chettiar. Singaravellu Chettiar is supposed to be the first person in India who had celebrated the May Day. We know that 1st May is celebrated as the May Day because this is celebrated as the World Labor's Day, working class people's day. And it was celebrated for the first time in our country in the year 1923 by Singaravellu Chettiar in India. So, and the leftist parties or the leftist organizations, they not only backed the farmers and the working class movement, but they also published the journals relating the problems of the farmers and the working class people. So some of the important journals that were published by the leftist organizations were Birendranath Chattopadhyay's Atmashakti and Abani Mukherjee's Dhoomketu. And the organizations which were formed during 1920s, the first time it was the United Province Kisan Sabha, that was formed in 1918 in UP. UP was previously known as United Province. During the British India, that state was known as United Province. And the Kisan Sabha, the organization for the peasants, was for the first time formed over there under the initiatives of Baba Ramchandra and also the leaders, local leaders of Gorakhpur, Ayodhya, as well, supported by Jawaharlal Nehru. And United Province Kisan Sabha was formed in 1918. 1918, and later on other organizations were formed, amongst them Labour Swaraj Party, that was formed in 1925, and Congress Labour Party, that was formed in 1926. Now together both these parties were merged together in 1927 and got a new name, that was Workers and Peasants Party. We will have to learn about the Workers and Peasants Party more, because the short note on Workers and Peasants Party comes. So Workers and Peasants Party was formed with the combination of Labour Swaraj Party and the Congress Labour Party in the year 1927. Then in Bengal, Fazlul Haq had formed Krishak Praja Party. Then Communist Party of India, I have already told you that once in Tashkent in 1920 and again in 1925 in Kanpur it was formed. Congress Socialist Party, that was formed in 1934 by Jayaprakash Narayan, Ram Manohar Lohia, Acharya Narayan Dev, etc. And the All India Kisan Sabha, the All India Organization for the Peasants, All India Kisan Sabha, was formed in 1936 with Swami Sahajananda Saraswati as its first president and Diwan Chiman Lal as the first secretary. So these were the organizations that were formed during 1920s for the for safekeeping the interests of the peasants and the working class. Now we will learn about the peasant revolt during the anti-partition movement. Now, anti-partition movement, what was anti-partition movement? We will have to know about the background. Now, we know that Bengal during that time was the backbone of the revolutionary activities against the British, and in order to break the revolutionary activities and the growing feeling of nationalism amongst the Indians, Lord Curzon, the then Viceroy, he had developed this plan of breaking down the unity of the Bengali people by dividing or partitioning the Bengal. Bengal during that time was a very large province including Assam, the East Bengal, that is the present Bangladesh, uh, Bihar and Orissa. So the entire province was known as the Bengal province, and Lord Curzon wanted to break the unity of the people of this area, basically the Bengalis, and so he wanted to implement the divide and rule policy, though his official declaration was that in order to apply more effective administration, like from Calcutta, it was difficult to rule Assam. So he wanted to divide Assam from Bengal. So in this way, he had divided the Bengal area also into East Bengal and West Bengal. From Dhaka, it was easier for to rule the parts of East Bengal. So that was his official motive. But actual motive, the real motive, was to break the unity and the feeling of nationalism amongst the Indians in Bengal. So the partition of Bengal was announced in the year October 1905, and the people had burst into revolt against this partition. Now, what was the role of the peasants? We will see that the partition of Bengal, the anti-partition movement, actually had three aspects. First one was the boycott. Boycott means boycotting the British-made products, British institutes, and British schools, colleges, organizations, everything. Another aspect was Swadeshi. Swadeshi means one's own country, the things, the indigenous things, promoting the indigenous things, the Indian products, and the national education. The third aspect was the national education. Now, the peasants' participation in the anti-partition movement was limited because they were not politically involved. They were not politically knowledgeable, and the leaders were also not inclined towards the peasants' support in this anti-partition movement. So it had mostly, the peasants' movement mostly had a communal character. That means Hindu-Muslim, the Hindu peasants revolted, some places the Muslim peasants revolted or participated. So there was not definite participation of the peasants during the anti-partition movement. And we come to learn about Ashwini Kumar Dotto and his Swadesh Bandhav Samiti in 1906 to solve the problems in the villages and safeguard the interests of the peasants in the eastern part of Bengal. And as I have told, that the leaders were not interested in the peasants' support in the anti-partition movement, and there was no agricultural based program also in the anti-partition movement, and the leaders were not bothered about safeguarding the interests of the peasants. They were not worried about the conditions of the peasants in the hands of the landlords and the money lenders. So all these negligence on the parts of the national leaders prohibited the peasants from participating actively in the anti-partition movement.